Hi everyone, in this video I decided that I would do quite a chatty video based on my rare neurological brain condition that I suffer with, which is idiopathic intracranial hypertension. This condition affects 1 in every 100,000 people, so it's quite a rare condition and I happen to be one of those people. When I was 18 years old I got diagnosed with this condition. It basically started off as me lying in bed dreaming that I had a massive pain in the back of my head, and then when I woke up I did have a massive pain in the back of my head, and from then on for about 2 weeks I was suffering, going backwards and forwards to the doctors, and they weren't really particularly helpful at the time. They said that I was suffering with bag strain and giving me lots of tablets, but those tablets weren't really helping. They weren't even touching the pain I was getting, and from then on it just got progressively worse. Now, idiopathic intracranial hypertension is basically where the spinal fluid builds up and it puts pressure on your brain, and when it's building up the pressure in your brain it's then pressing on your optic nerves, which means that it can lead to blindness if it's not treated in time. So it's extremely serious. So when I was 18 years old I didn't have a clue what this was and I was extremely frightened at the time, but now I got diagnosed obviously when I was 18. I'm just turned 23 now, and I got put on a tablet called Diamox, which I was taking one a day at the time. I had to keep taking this and having regular eye checkups and neurologist appointments to make sure that everything was going okay, and that's really sort of how it kept the pressure at bay. I also had to have 3 lumbar punctures in the space of a couple of months. And what a lumbar puncture is, it's I think it's I believe like a 7-inch needle that goes in the back of your spine, and they drain the pressure out of your spine to release all the fluid that is building up in your brain. This is really good, and don't get me wrong, it does really help, but the one thing that you'll suffer with after a lumbar puncture is a low pressure headache, which is the worst headache the worst headache ever basically. It literally feels like when you're sitting up, like someone's got your brain and they're squishing it completely together, so you just have to lie down flat, and that's the only way that you can reduce the pain. Like the pain just goes as soon as you lie down. So when I was first diagnosed I was in hospital for around 3 days, and after that I then had to take a couple of months out of school to recover and make sure the pressure was completely fine before returning back to driving and getting back to normal life. After I was 18 years old I then started going to the gym, started to lose quite a bit of weight. I probably lost around about 1.5 stone, and I was going regularly quite frequently, about 3 times a week, and at that time it was helping me quite a lot, to be honest. I started to get less headaches, but then I started to exercise a lot more, and then I just felt like maybe I was overdoing it slightly and the pressure was building up again, and I stopped going. I then had an appointment with a neurologist, and he said to me that you don't need a lumbar puncture, I don't want to do one just now, we'll just keep the medication going and go from there. I then carried on with the medication and nothing was working. The pressure was getting worse, and that was quite recently. That was of September last year. And then recently in April of this year I then went down to my local opticians, and because I was getting sent home from work quite a lot, I was feeling quite sick quite frequently, and I was getting little dots in between my eyes, and because I hadn't suffered with it since I was 18 years old I was thinking, is this the pressure coming back? Because I hadn't had it in so long, so I couldn't really remember all of the symptoms. So I went to the optician, sorry, and they were like, okay, we'll check your eyes, we'll take photographs of your eyes to see what the pressure's like. And when I sat in the chair he took photos of my eyes, and he said to me and my boyfriend, you need to go straight to A&E because your pressure is building up back in your optic nerves again and this isn't right. So he showed me a picture from 2 years ago, and from the photographs that he showed me, you can see that the pressure around the optic disc is very minimal. There isn't much there. And then in the recent picture, the pressure is so red and inflamed around the optic disc, and this is because it had severely increased over time. Now this probably could have happened over the course of a couple of years or a couple of months, but it just wasn't getting sorted at the time, so it just built up and built up until it got so bad that I had to go to A&E. I then went into A&E with my boyfriend and waited probably around 6 hours to see a doctor. Finally got a bed at about 3:30 in the morning when we arrived there at about 7 in the evening, and from that point on they said, right, we need to do an emergency lumbar puncture in the morning, you can't go home, you have to stay here. So I stayed in overnight and they did an emergency lumbar puncture at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was thinking, oh my god, haven't had one in so long, and they are the most painful things on earth if they don't anaesthetise you properly. If they anaesthetise you really well, you won't feel a thing, but if they don't anaesthetise you, then it's the most painful thing ever. I've had one lumbar puncture which was extremely painful, that tears were just pouring out of my eyes and I couldn't control it. But then I had a different person that did a lumbar puncture who had done quite a few different ones. He anaesthetised me properly and I didn't feel anything. So I think it really depends on who does the lumbar puncture as to if it's going to be painful or not. But I had it done and instantly I started to feel a lot better. It was pretty much instant. The pressure had gone down quite significantly and I thought, right, okay, that's it, that's gonna be the end. I'll probably be back to work next week. All's good, like, you know, everything's sorted now, let's get home. Got home and that evening I felt alright. I went to bed quite early, but the next day I woke up with a low pressure headache. Now, when you go and have a lumbar puncture, they tell you to actually drink fizzy drinks like full fat Coke to increase the caffeine to make your pressure go up slightly, just so you don't get a low pressure headache. But with me, because if anyone takes Diamox, it makes any fizzy drinks taste like metal, so it's virtually impossible to drink fizzy drinks anyway. So I didn't probably drink as much as I should have, purely because I was a bit worried about the pressure going too high, because they say if you drink too much of the Coke then you're just going to get the pressure increased again and then you're going to be in the same situation. So I did drink Coke, but I didn't drink too much because I was a bit worried. Anyway, carried on with everything, and then the low pressure headache kicked in. Now when I was 18, I don't really remember getting these sort of headaches after a lumbar puncture, but my doctor did advise me that I probably will get one because they had to drain quite a lot of fluid off. So when I had the lumbar puncture, the headaches were just excruciating. I was laying in bed and the headaches would completely go. As soon as I sat up again, the pain was so bad, and it was quite scary. And I was having, like, my nan and my mum were quite worried. My boyfriend was quite worried as well because they hadn't seen me in this much pain. My boyfriend was driving me around to different appointments and I was literally just flat in his car while he was driving me around because I couldn't sit upright, because as soon as I sat up, that was it, the pain was excruciating. So it really did affect me for quite a while, and from that lumbar puncture I then had to have probably about two weeks off work after that, and I was in bed the whole time, lying flat on my back, trying to just relax, get the pressure back to normal and try and get back to normal life. Now, when I first filmed my first video for YouTube, I still wasn't completely better, and at that time I didn't really feel like anything was being done and nothing was really working. However, what I'm taking now is I'm taking 4 Diamox tablets a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. I also take now it's an antidepressant, but they use it as a painkiller as well, called amitriptyline. I take one of these at night. This is extremely good. It does help you sleep really, really well, and it also does reduce any pain. And sometimes if I have come back from work and I've been in a lot of pain, I will take this before I go to bed without fail, and I'll fall asleep and by the next morning my headache would have gone. So it really, really does work. So I know my doctors have said to me before, taking like normal paracetamol and especially dihydrocodone and paracetamol can make it worse. So I'm just sticking with this tablet because it works for me. Since my last video in April, I'm back to work full time now. I feel a lot better, and I think it probably shows in my videos as well. Before, I had no energy to do anything. My roots hadn't been done. I hardly put any makeup on because I didn't have the energy to do it. And now I can have the energy to do my hair, do my makeup and feel a lot better. I know that obviously some people that have this condition, they do have it a lot worse than I do when they have shunts in their head. At the moment, my condition's being managed, and I think that's what it is. It can obviously take a turn for the worse if it's not being managed correctly. If it's being managed and you're on the right medication, then hopefully you shouldn't have too many problems. Like I said, I've got to have quite regular eye checks just to make sure that my eyesight isn't being affected. And when I did go to my opticians recently, he did say that my eyesight had been affected, but he wasn't too sure whether that was due to the pressure building up between my eyes. So it is quite a scary condition, because when I was 18 years old, I did lose my eyesight for around 10 seconds, which isn't too long, but it's a very scary experience for someone that's really young to go through. And even now, being 23, it would still scare me a lot. So it is really worrying. And I think what people find hard that don't have the condition is because I look fine. Like now, I've got no physical symptoms of anything being wrong with me. It's only when people really don't understand and they don't realise. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this YouTube video, because I know there's so many people out there that suffer with this in America and in the UK, and not enough people really talk about it. And I know that I'm on a group on Facebook where there's so many members that may be able to benefit from these videos of people talking about it and their experiences, because then they might not feel that they're alone. And for me, if anyone is watching this video that has the same condition, let me know what your experience is and your symptoms, because I'd really like to know. Obviously my sort of diagnosis was slightly different to other people's, but you know, when I was 18 years old, I got told that it could be a brain tumour because all the symptoms were there as a brain tumour. And it's so scary to go through all of that, and obviously to come out of it and think, right, okay, I'm fine now. But you really shouldn't take your health for granted, because anything can happen at any time. And you know, this group that I'm on Facebook, they've helped me so much. When I was off work and I was in so much pain, they would be commenting, like building me up, telling me like what was happening to them, and then you just felt like there was a big community of people. So that's another reason why I thought that I could branch out to other people as well that watch YouTube quite a lot and want to discuss IIH, because it is such a rare condition that no one really talks about it. I know they're trying to do research into it, but something does need to be done because there's so many people that suffer with it. I know that obviously they say that weight is an issue, but there is still skinny people that suffer with it as well. So I believe that there's something else that leads on to it. I believe that probably weight does help if you lose it, because obviously it's going to benefit your health, but I don't think that's the only reason why you have it. There's got to be some other reasons, because there's people in the group that I'm with that are quite slim that have it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to do this. At the moment, I'm feeling quite good. I've got a neurologist appointment in August, which I believe they could decide to decrease my medication. I'm not too sure whether I want them to decrease it, purely because I feel like at the moment it's doing a good job, and I feel like maybe if I reduce it, I might start getting the pain again, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to take any time off work, and I want to be back to my normal self. Last week I went out for the first time on a night out, which I haven't done in such a long time, probably since January of this year. So it's been a long time. So now I feel like I'm getting back to my normal self. So yeah, if there's anyone that does suffer with this condition, please let me know in the comments, because it would be really great to hear from you. if you do want to find out more information about IIH, idiopathic intracranial hypertension, I will link the website below as well, so you can check it out. I know obviously this is quite strange because there doesn't look like there's anything wrong with me, but this is something that severely affects my health, but it's being managed at the moment, so fingers crossed it's all sorted. But yeah, if there's anyone watching this that does have it, please let me know, because it would be really great to hear from you. But yeah, I really hope that you've found this video quite informative, especially the people that didn't know what it was before. Maybe it's given you a sort of insight as to what this condition is, and you know how bad it is as well, and also to help the people that suffer with the condition. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe, because that would be amazing as well. Bye!